information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to The Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
It's that time. It's that Saturday. This is the Changing Stage radio show powered by the mighty WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in internet talk radio. And we want to give a shout out and a big thanks to our sponsors, Pitbull Audio at pitbullaudio.com. They just want you to play it loud, and they have all the gear to get you to do so. And of course, our good friends at SIR, we're at SIR-USA.com. And if you need to go out on tour, they supply all the great gear for those going out on tour. And then if you're a corporation that needs a little bit of audio or video, they can also take care of that. Also, I want you guys to make sure you follow us on Twitter at changing _stage. Again, CHANG. I'm getting CHANGING _STAGE. And of course, our Facebook at facebook.com/The Changing Stage Radio Show. And I want to give a big shout out to our Balanced Breakfast folks. They are a music industry meetup that happens respectively every different day of the week in various cities here in this country, and they are out there making it happen, building a better music community, whether it be locally or whether it be nationally. And if you want to take a look at them, you can go to www.blncdbrkfst.com. And of course, if you're in San Diego, you can go to the local chapter at groups/Balanced Breakfast SD. And this is a good day because we've got a great new company that's coming out with some technology that's going to be revolutionary. We've got Meng Kuok from BandLab. Are you there, Meng?
Hey, Florentino.
How are you doing, man? Hopefully did I pronounce your last name right?
Yeah, you did it perfect. Thanks.
Oh, great. You are in Singapore, man. What time is it over there?
I am in Singapore. It's 3 a.m., so
oh, snap.
Get me breathing heavily or keeping quiet for a while. You know why.
I appreciate it. I didn't realize that what time I should have. We should probably had a special broadcast for you. Next time we have you on, man, we're gonna make sure that we don't keep you up at 3 a.m. I thought it was in the evening time. From what I didn't realize you're getting up early in the morning, man. I appreciate that, brother.
No worries at all.
So you know what? You've got this revolutionary technology, and we're going to kind of get back into that later on in the show. But essentially to kind of give a little preview. It is a DAW or a digital audio workstation in the cloud, and it's pretty amazing that you can collaborate all over the world, like in Singapore or here in San Diego, with making music together. So I think it's pretty revolutionary. And you're the CEO of BandLab. I wanted to kind of touch base because we're really about the human interest of how all these great technologies get developed. I want to touch base on how did you get started into the music game, and what really drove you to make this software? Right.
Well, BandLab is a very interesting project, and it's to some extent it's a cloud DAW, but to other extents it's actually possible to go a lot deeper into the social engagement around musicians and fans. But for myself, my history in music actually started back when I was younger. Actually, my relationship was not as young as some people. It was only really when I was 10. I grew up in Singapore, but I moved to the UK at the age of 10 or 11 for school.
Oh, okay.
And when I went over, there wasn't actually a lot of music that I was listening to at the time. And the UK loves their music very, very much, and it's a very strong part of their culture. So one of the first things that happened to me when I got there was my friends would ask me, what kind of music do you listen to? And so I named a couple of acts, a couple of pop songs and singles that I'd heard back in Singapore, and they said, that's not real music. and back in the day when, it was mini discs and tapes and some CDs, they burnt me a little mini disc, which was Radiohead's The Bends, and then for a first-time listener, that can be quite intimidating to listen to.
Yeah,
and then they said,
definitely not for the faint of heart when it comes down to progressions and arrangements and fun stuff like that.
They gave it to me and they said, go and listen to this and don't come out till you like it. And it was a wonderful thing because it really was. Still to this day, it's one of my favorite albums, and it's just an unbelievable way to get into music. The more you listen to it, the more you truly appreciate, the craft and the layers, and that's something that really stuck with me as I started to appreciate and go deeper into music. So a couple of years later, we started playing in a band, and obviously we were inspired by the idea of being able to make some great music and play covers. And I picked up the guitar because of this. But obviously at the time we were terrible. So we gave up on that dream very, very quickly. But, I stuck with it, and ultimately this developed into a passion for music and really an appreciation for how important music is as a cultural and a social benefit.
Yeah.
Especially in somewhere like Asia where music culture is not as strong, popular music culture is not as strong as back in the day as it is in the States or in the UK and Europe. And so it was very interesting for countries in Southeast Asia like Singapore to really see the difference between the way people address and appreciate music learning and music education and appreciation as they do overseas.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting that you bring that up. I think that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm of Asian heritage myself. I'm Filipino, and there was a time over there where music literally was 2 to 3 years behind. You'd come over there and it's like, there's a new group coming out. And it's like the Backstreet Boys. Well, they've been out for like 3-4 years here. Where you been? But now it's all with internet, it's all, it's right current. So is that the same thing over there in Singapore?
It's very, very interesting because, in Southeast Asia, there are so many different countries all within a short distance from each other. And, you can fly from one country to another and in an hour and be somewhere completely different with a different background, a religious background, or even musical interests. And definitely the way the political culture and the scene is set out here, different countries have different focuses, and like you said, some countries are 2 to 3 years behind, but some years are even 10 to 20 years behind.
Yeah.
So I run another company which is one of Asia's leading retail and distribution outlets, doing many different brands of instruments in the MI industry, like Fender, Gibson, Ibanez, and we do a lot of business in countries like Vietnam and Myanmar. And one of the interesting things about a country like Myanmar that's really just opening up now, you find that a lot of the music that is, market leading in that country is still, it's still the guitar heroes like Satriani and Steve Vai, and it's very interesting to see how that's very different to somewhere like Singapore where, or even Philippines, where it's driven to, much more acoustic music and what's more contemporary like Ed Sheeran and bands like that, right?
Even the Philippines has really kind of gone more indie and alternative, where it used to be highly R&B. So it's kind of a
Oh, definitely.
You see the dynamics change. In fact, there's R&B's drying up and it's becoming EDM. So it's just really weird market.
Yeah, well, the Filipino culture is unbelievable, and they're full of amazing musicians. Actually, when I was younger, one of the reasons why I was able to get into the band was because I could sing. And part of that was because there was a Filipino lady that I was close to when I was younger, and she used to sing to me every day. And she was, I guess, instrumental in some way to my life and my passion for music.
Wow, very, very cool. See, these are the kind of things that I think, really make a product, man. People think it's, it's the technology. No, it's the inspirations. And I think that's kind of true in your case. Now, did you, at that particular point as you're doing music, did you go, I'm going to go into, some place where I can start, building instruments, or is it something that just kind of was happenstance for you? That's how it happened with me with radio. I did not focus on a radio career; it kind of just fell into my lap. So sometimes things that you never expect kind of come up and become a really big blessing. But in your particular case, how did the transition from being, someone who is passionate about music to someone who's a technologist start to come about?
Right. Well, from my angle, I was always interested in technology as in my youth, but definitely as I progressed into higher education, my educational background is very much in mathematics.
Oh, okay.
So and business is something that we were very passionate about, and building great businesses obviously fundamentally need to be built around great concepts. So having a great passion for music was exciting, but definitely looking at the opportunities around the space, there was a great opportunity back in 2012 when I returned back to Singapore with a company that was pretty established, that I mentioned earlier, in the distribution space, which we decided to kind of reshape and move into the 21st century in terms of retail distribution, e-commerce, and products for musicians. And so this really led into the possibilities of understanding the scene more and understanding musicians more, as well as being able to develop an interesting business that was based around something that I was very passionate about personally.
Wow. Well, I think that's, again, that's the crucial piece, is where you start to see the points connect. We've got about 15 seconds left in this segment. Let's give, the URL where they can find BandLabs.
Right. You can find BandLab at www.bandlab.com, BandLab.com, and you can find it on the Google App Store under BandLab and also on the iOS App Store.
That is awesome. I think even though it's 3 o'clock in the morning there, man, you spell better than I do today. I was stumbling through my spelling. This has been the Changing Stage first segment with Meng Kuok and BandLab. We'll be right back talking a bit more about Meng's career as well as the product that he represents.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Thank you for listening to WS Radio. Improve your business and your life with useful information from experts and thought leaders. WS Radio is radio with ROI.
You may have heard me brag about Progressive Medical Center and just how much they've helped me with my health. And Dr. Goley, one thing that you've helped so many people with is migraines.
Unfortunately, there are millions and millions of Americans who are suffering with migraines and headaches, and they're debilitating because it affects the quality of their life, and they cannot function properly. At Progressive, we get to the root cause because we understand that migraines could be caused by nutritional deficiencies, hormonal imbalances, believe it or not, delayed food sensitivities. And once we determine what the real reason is, we put a plan of action together with medication that we get them off slowly, and we put them on an all-natural approach, and the results are amazing.
Incredible. I mean, there's so many people that can say they don't live their lives with migraines anymore thanks to Progressive Medical Center.
And that's what's exciting and rewarding to us as physicians, because we help our patients take control of their health, and that's why they're living well.
Why don't you get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today? Don't live in pain. Don't have migraines anymore. Just go to their website, progressivemedicalcenter.com.
This is your life. Live it well.
In the military, things can change in an instant. At Navy Mutual Aid Association, we understand because it's our life too. That's why our dedication to serving the life insurance needs of our military veterans and their families is unrivaled. Navy Mutual offers superior life insurance protection without military service restrictions and limitations. A single focus on providing the peace of mind military families are looking for. That's what we do. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve. Call 800-628-6011 or go to NavyMutual.org.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on VinVillage Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. VinVillage connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on VinVillage.com. VinVillage is where wine lovers connect. Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
Welcome to The Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
Okay, we paid some bills, and now we're back in the second segment of the Changing Stage radio show powered by the mighty WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in Internet Talk Radio. Thanks again to Pitbull Audio at pitbullaudio.com. They just want you to play it loud, and that's where you go if you want to run with the big dogs, like Shark says. And, of course, follow us at Twitter at changing_stage and Facebook.com/The Changing Stage Radio Show, and Balanced Breakfast, BLNCDBRKFST.com. Check them out, because that's where all the people in either San Diego, LA, you can go find some another location like Nashville. All the big music cities are having these meetup groups where professionals get together, and it's kind of succinct to what we're talking about today, because we are with Meng, who is the CEO of BandLab, and that particular technology is all about getting together online, whether you are next door or whether you are international. It doesn't matter, because you can socially interact musically with this particular product. And we've been talking to him about his career and building into the desire to make something that's revolutionary like this. And we want to touch base with you, Meng. Are you there?
Yes. Hey, Florentino.
So when did the idea for BandLab come up? We've talked about the distribution company, and you wanted to kind of move in that space and make some impact with Asia's market of the MI market, and of course, your passion for music, and then your training in mathematics. When did you see this desire to make this revolutionary product come about?
Right. Well, I met Steve, my other co-founder, who I think you had on the show a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I met him through Sui Lee and through one of the MI trade shows, actually.
Okay.
And we connected on both the product that they were creating, and also ultimately, a relationship built up in which we started to discuss this project, BandLab, and the idea for collaboration between musicians in the cloud. And once we connected around it, it was pretty apparent from the very, very start that this was something very, very exciting. And it wasn't just the possibility of the way that technology had developed to allow musicians to actually start being able to have tools in the cloud to work with each other. But what was particularly exciting and seemed like an excellent opportunity was the possibility of actually engaging creators as well as their fans in the same space. Because part of the challenge wasn't just the utility and the barriers that existed technologically, but also, there are a lot more emotional and creative challenges that exist for musicians today in the creative process.
Yeah, and I think that is kind of the key. I know that I find, my producer, Paul Berezeski, we call him Quagmire because he likes to get heavily into the technological elements of everything, and we jokingly say that because sometimes you find that pursuit of interacting with the technology, you get that passion gets lost within the process. You kind of lose the steam, if you will. So let's kind of jump into it. Tell us a bit about the product and how the creative process is really empowered through the product that you have, and some of the challenges that musicians have faced with creating music, as well as some of the benefits that this is able to bring to them.
Sure. Well, Probably the best way to describe BandLab is that it's a creative platform that aims to make the creative process more seamless. And like I mentioned earlier, it's both a utility tool for allowing musicians to capture and develop their songs anytime, anywhere, but built into it is also a social platform that connects musicians and their fans in a more meaningful way. I think the key here is that there are challenges today that exist for people in the songwriting and the creative process. Whether you're an artist or whether you're someone who is, aspiring to be an artist, music is something that's always best, from my experience, and I'm sure if you're a player as well, you've had a similar experience where it really is engaging with other people around the music, whether you're listening to it with them or whether you're playing music with them, especially when you're picking up an instrument. It definitely makes a big difference if you have a support group around you.
Yes.
So, part of the challenge with the creative process nowadays is that people are struggling and finding that there are so many distractions. They really need accessibility, ease of use, and seamless creation. And currently the tools that exist today, although they're excellent and technology has progressed to the point where we have incredible ways of creating great music, it has made a lot of the actual the fundamentals between using that technology a lot more fragmented.
Yeah.
So, for example, a typical workflow for a musician, I know myself, when I was writing more music, had a similar workflow where my ideas on voice memo and then struggle to try and get it into my computer. And then if I had to work with someone else in it, I have to email it to them or Dropbox or Google Drive. And it became a lot more challenging when you started to use a traditional DAW and actually have file types that were proprietary. And it was much more of a challenge to work with someone if you used a PC and they used a Mac. And especially if you travel,
tell me
being
my
on the
pain
go
right there.
was...
I can say that's my pain right there with Mac and PC.
It's really an issue. So a lot of BandLab, and going back to kind of how it was conceived, was driven out of a fundamental problem that we felt that we faced in the process. But also, as we spoke to more musicians and as we spend more time with people who we wanted to document and profile their issues, we found that truly a lot of the challenge as well was in the process of creation to make sure that they get the right feedback, because the industry is changing a lot, that you can't have this, a 2-year, 3-year album cycle anymore, or music release cycle. It's becoming to the point where people's attention spans are much shorter, and they need to constantly be reminded of your presence, and that's where social media has become so important for a musician in the 21st century.
Yeah, and I wholeheartedly agree. Now, probably one of the questions that we're going to get out there, including myself, feature sets within it. So, kind of to break it down, as because I downloaded it and I was playing around with it, it seems like to be a pretty robust DAW as well as a social media. It's like a DAW social media, website, but not really a website. It's an application that's housed in the cloud. And with that, you can take your, like you mentioned, you can sit there and hum a tune into it, and then send that off to your collaborator, and they could take that and maybe put that to some type of melody they can play into it. How about some of the more rich features? How do you get it? With plugins and stuff like that. How does that? How would that affect the product?
Right. Well, you describe it pretty well, probably better than I do. It's, I think that the main features will definitely be broken down into 3 key areas. The user journeys for someone using the product, creation, collaboration, and exploration. So, creation, like you mentioned, you have the ability to quickly capture not just audio, but you can also capture lyrics as well. So let's say you're working on a song and you've got a great lyric, or even you want to note down the chord changes, as opposed to something that someone might traditionally use like voice memo, you can add notes, which is great. And immediately, because everything is synchronized to the cloud, it's available on all your devices. If you use your phone and you use your PC, one of the exciting things about web audio and the new technology that's out there today with the cloud is that the ability to access your music now exists everywhere. And the way that we've designed BandLab to be available through the cloud on your browser means that I could be traveling. I could go to a cyber cafe in Vietnam or somewhere on a road trip, and as long as I have access to someone's laptop, whether it's mine or whether it's someone else's, I have the ability to access my music and then capture and develop it anywhere, anytime. And we have the built-in mix editor, which is the DAW that you referenced, built into the browser. So all you need is your browser and an internet connection, as opposed to having to download a very, very large feature set, especially in what we are focusing around with creation, which is ideation of songs. You know, we're not looking to try and polish something. It's really about helping musicians get to the point where they can take something further.
Yeah.
So, a funny example of how something as simple as synchronizing your voice notes or your voice ideas is important to people. I don't know if you read the story, I think it was earlier last year, that Kirk Hammett from Metallica, he lost his iPhone, and he lost 250 riffs and ideas that he'd had for Metallica songs. And
I didn't know about that.
It was one of those things that we saw, and it's very interesting to see that even professional musicians still use, even Taylor Swift on her latest album had 3 tracks dedicated to her voice memos that she was recording and actually used as the foundation for the ideas of songs.
See, and I think if they would have had your product, Kirk at least wouldn't have had any problems. he would have been able to keep all that fun stuff right there on the cloud. We've got to go to that fun commercial break again here. I mean, this is all compelling. So I'm like, as I'm hearing it, I'm thinking, how am I going to use this? And I'm kind of taking it in all from a personal level, so that's very cool. This has been the Changing Stage radio show, second segment, where we are on WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in internet talk radio. We want to give a big shout out to SIR at SIR-USA.com for providing all the gear for all the touring bands since the 70s. They've been doing it for a while. We'll be right back in a few short minutes.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you are unique, targeting your message, and improving your open rates. Appify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
You've heard me bragging about Progressive Medical Center and how they've helped me feel so much healthier. But one thing, Dr. Agoli, that a lot of people come to you with is just unexplained pain. They just can't get any relief. Why can Progressive Medical Center's Pain Management Center help them?
First of all, we have to acknowledge that pain is for real, and you've got acute pain and chronic pain. Here's the problem. That acute pain turns to chronic, which is long-standing, and no one's getting to the root cause. There's several key diagnostic components that help us get to the root of what's causing this pain. Is it inflammation? Once we do a thorough evaluation to get to the root cause, determine if it's structural or if it's a metabolic issue. And this way, we put an individualized program for pain management involving correcting the spine, using certain injections when necessary, and we get our patients out of pain quicker, and they stay out of pain because we teach them how to live their life well.
Don't let yourself live in pain any longer. Get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today at progressivemedicalcenter.com.
Progressive Medical, this is your life, live it well.
This is Bill Gruber with BizVid Communications, a Southern California video production leader. We've been honored to sponsor, produce, write, and host many of the fine programs on WS Radio over the years. So we understand how important the internet and your website exposure are. As video producers, we know the tricks and secrets to incorporate video to increase your search engine optimization and business success. Visit bizvidcommunications.com to see what we can do for you. BIZVID communications.com.
To me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to The Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
We are back with the Changing Stage radio show, the third segment. We are powered by the mighty WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in Internet Talk Radio. Want to give a shout out to Pitbull Audio at pitbullaudio.com, where they just want you to play it loud. Of course, our good friends over at Balanced Breakfast at BLNCDBRKFST.com. If you are looking at finding a place to meet up with musicians and talk about the business and get some information, find one in your city. You'll find all the different cities that are listed there on that website. I know that we have one over here in San Diego that I go to regularly. And, of course, follow us on at changing_stage for Twitter, and for Facebook, facebook.com/The Changing Stage Radio Show. And we are back with Meng Kuok of BandLab, and we are talking about collaboration tools and about DAWs on a cloud, about recording studios in the internet, man. It's an amazing time. You know, there was a time that you had to have, millions of dollars worth of gear to make a real record, and now all you have to do is have a browser. It's awesome, dude.
Absolutely.
So, I was talking with my show producer a little bit about the product. He's been checking it out as we're going along. This is Paul Berezowski. He wanted to say hello. Hello.
Hey, Ben.
Where's your microphone?
I'm a bad engineer. They got all the mics turned around here, so I didn't know which one I was on.
So your question, Paul, as you shot yourself with faders.
Well, first, not a question. Something I just discovered that's very cool. I was looking at the drum loops, and the drum loops have song names associated with them, so you kind of know what it sounds like off the bat without having to, try each one. It says, this is Tom Petty, American Girl, Notorious B.I.G., Big Papa, Billie Jean, Michael Jackson. So you kind of know what the drum loop is gonna sound like ahead of time. And I've never seen anything like this, and I think this is really, really cool.
Right. Yeah, we really wanted, we did a deal with a company that's doing some great drum loops, and they were kind enough to license us some of these drum loops to use. It's very, these are all inspired by these songs, and we really wanted something, especially BandLab is built around inspiration and being inspired, and we felt it was very important at the same time to help people with something that they were familiar with, because that often gets you into the groove of something, especially when you're trying to write. It's about having song starters, and that's really where I guess one of the other key features of BandLab is based around, which is collaboration, and how you can inspire and be inspired by other people's music and actually be able to remix what they've done and work on it in the browser using the tool.
Yeah, this is great. And normally when me and Florentino a lot of times work on music, we'll sit there for an hour and a half going through all these random drum loops with random names. We have no idea what they sound like. Nah, that's not it. That's not it. And it's so time consuming. And a lot of times you kind of know what the sound you're looking for. You're looking for something like, Billie Jean by Michael Jackson, but it'll take you forever to find anything that comes close to it. So this is a really, really good idea, I think.
Yeah, I'm the one who usually does the drums, so he's like, I have a chance to expedite that now, because I'm sitting there usually listening.
I just sit there yawning.
So, it's kind of interesting. You provide all these different tools, But you wouldn't mix on this particular on BandLab. You can bounce it down into waveforms and bring that into your whatever your DAW of choice, whether it be Pro Tools, well, I use Sonar, so I'm one of those random people that likes to buck the system. It's not the most common, but I love it. I love Sonar, and and then of course there's all kinds of new ones that are coming out. Is that pretty much how you would process this? You would bounce those down as waves, or
right. Well, we see a lot of people using it differently. I think what's exciting about the tools and the fact that we sit so early in the ideation process and collaboration process is that whether you are using it, we see people actually mixing on it. We see people actually putting together full songs and arrangements that they're very happy with. We see a lot of people rapping over songs that they're listening to or tracks that they've been working on in a DAW, but they want to obviously just quickly grab down and layer, some lines and some freestyles on top of the beats that they have. So, one workflow definitely for some people is to actually bounce it out to use it in a different DAW, but usually that's when they're at the point where they want to start polishing it,
Yeah.
And so a lot of the value of BandLab is being able to throw something simply in, like a drum beat or something that they've come up with in the drum machine, which we have, which is a sequencer and a drum machine, using the inbuilt sound banks and instruments that exist on BandLab to be able to put together a groove very, very quickly. And then, let's say you play guitar, you could layer something on top of that on your mobile phone using the microphone, and quickly tag and chat with one of your friends who's not in the same place as you, and say, hey, you should check this out. I've just updated the song. And, through their browser, they could load up the project, they'll get a notification, and they'll be able to look at it and immediately go into it. They could tweak the guitar a little bit, loop a section which they thought really worked for the vibe, or they could lay down some other lines or even sing on top of it. And so, that simplicity of bouncing things back and forth eliminates a lot of the challenges that exist today, especially when it comes to the technology tools that exist and the barriers that are there because of this. So, I would say that the biggest challenges in the creative process right now, the barriers that we're trying to break down, are in three places. The technological barriers, like, I use a PC, use a Mac, you use Sonar, but I prefer to use Logic because I've been more used to GarageBand. There's the geographical barriers where we might not be in the same place.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that collaboration nowadays should be seamless and actually real time. And to a lot of people, that's been the holy grail of internet collaboration. It's how do I jam real time? But interestingly, especially as we deal with more musicians and as we use it personally as users, a lot of the value of what we do, which is asynchronous, this is really where we've decided to push towards, because it's really about anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
And with collaboration, you want to have that freedom and that ability to be able to work on something without being tied to, let's say, meeting time, without me having to wake up at 3 a.m. and it being 11 a.m. for you somewhere else around the world. You want that freedom to pick it up anytime you want and to be able to work on it using any device that you have and not have to worry about the tools. And finally, around the collaboration, what's very exciting about the cloud is that you can break down the creative barriers that exist for a musician today. As I mentioned earlier, there's so many challenges for a musician. Not only do you need to be great at playing music, but you need to be a social media expert, you need to be a strong video producer, you need to really know how to design websites, especially if you're trying to do it by yourself. So, nowadays a lot of people, if you play the drums, it's harder and harder to actually take the time to connect with someone who could further your music, like a great guitarist or vice versa. And so the ability to collaborate in the cloud and connect to people very quickly means that if you aren't a great drum player or you can't program great drum loops, you can quickly connect to someone who can. And that's the best way to potentially make the strongest music that represents you and give your songs the best chance of success, right?
And I think that is, all of that, my mind is just going now. With you keep taking me away from being an interviewer and start putting me into my producer's hat. Like, okay, how am I going to use this? So I'm not thinking about the next question. I'm thinking about, okay, how do I apply this to this? Actually, that kind of leads me to one question here, and it's one of my challenges with what we do. We do a show that we do a live music recording called Radio Band Diego, and I work with a couple of different basically music engineers, and sometimes I being that kind of guy that likes to get my hands in the mix, literally, I'll want to make adjustments, and usually it's they'll send me a mix, I'll listen to it, and then I'll type in something to say, make this adjustment, or sometimes I'll just come back around and go, oh, screw it, I'll just do it myself, and I just start remixing the whole thing. In that particular case, and that's a good question. So, with something like Logic and Sonar, how can those interact with each other and have a full, what would be your suggestion for that? We've got about a minute in this segment, so we might have to carry it into the next one. So if you hear the music, just keep your train of thought.
Right. Well, I think what you described is one of the greatest challenges that exist today for musicians, especially when they're trying to collaborate on a finished product. Really tweaking the mixes at the end. A lot of that really relies, depending if it's live music that's been recorded in, they could just be pure audio stems. But a lot of the time now, especially, people use a lot of plugins to process and actually process their tracks as they're being mixed. So that's really one of the challenges that exist if you're using cross-platform devices. I would say that right at this point in time, BandLab really excels when you can bring stuff in and you can load your audio stems just by dragging them and dropping them into the folder.
Keep that thought, Meng, because I hear that fun music here. We got to pay the bills. It's all on a time sequence. It's a sequencer of radio. So we'll be right back. This has been the Changing Stage Radio Show. This is all interesting stuff. This is amazing, revolutionary new product, BandLab. We want you also to follow us at Twitter at changing_stage. Be right back.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children. After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The World Link program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
You've heard me bragging about Progressive Medical Center and how they've helped me feel so much healthier. But one thing, Dr. Agoli, that a lot of people come to you with is just unexplained pain. They just can't get any relief. Why can Progressive Medical Center's Pain Management Center help them?
First of all, we have to acknowledge that pain is for real, and you've got acute pain and chronic pain. Here's the problem. That acute pain turns to chronic, which is long-standing, and no one's getting to the root cause. There's several key diagnostic components that help us get to the root of what's causing this pain. Is it inflammation? Once we do a thorough evaluation to get to the root cause, determine if it's structural or if it's a metabolic issue. And this way, we put an individualized program for pain management involving correcting the spine, using certain injections when necessary, and we get our patients out of pain quicker, and they stay out of pain because we teach them how to live their life well.
Don't let yourself live in pain any longer. Get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today at progressivemedicalcenter.com.
Progressive Medical, this is your life. live it well.
Which sandwich is healthy and tasty? Which sandwich can come on bread or in a bowl? Which sandwich comes 51 different ways, so it's always your way? A which sandwich. Stop into our shop in Hazard Center. We're upstairs from the Hazard Center Digiplex. Bring in your movie ticket. We will add a free drink and chips to your sandwich order. Or order online at whichwich.com, and we will have it ready and waiting. WHICH, whichwich.com.
Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to the Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
We are back with the fourth segment of the Changing Stage radio show, powered by the mighty WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in Internet talk radio, brought to you by SIR at sir-usa.com. All the big touring musicians use them, but they are reasonable, and you can use them too for your local gig, for backline, for PA, for lighting, and for your corporation. That is also a choice you can make, because they do uplighting for events. It doesn't matter. They take care of it all. In fact, they'll be at the NAMM show this year. They'll be the ones providing all the gear for the NAMM show. And you folks are going to be at the NAMM show. Am I not correct, Meng?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So it's going to be fun. People will get a chance to take a look and experience this software from the experts. Of course, they can experience it right from their home, or from their phone. So that's really cool stuff. We've been talking about. We kind of those pesky sponsors interrupted us with talking about how we can mix across continents, and you were kind of talking about how we are able to bounce the stems down and kind of do it that way and utilize the software that way. So please continue on.
Right. I think like you were mentioning, this is one of the key challenges, especially a lot of producers and musicians are perfectionists in the way that they really want, when they're polishing the final version, they really want it to sound perfect. What I can say, is at this point in time, BandLab is probably not the best tool for polishing and finishing that mix, but that is really a work in progress. And one of the exciting things about web audio is that the progression of the technology is moving so fast that there are some really exciting features in progress that would potentially allow you to be able to do and address some of these challenges that you're facing, to be able to have a much closer version that you are satisfied with before you actually decide to send it for mastering or whichever tool that you use to actually finish that mix.
Yeah, I think, I think the development process is really the exciting piece for me, at least, to see how this all comes about. Because honestly, I really do feel that at some point, I used to work for Microsoft, so Microsoft's mission at that point was, seeing that everything was going to be the cloud, that your software being housed on your PC, may or may not necessarily be a reality in the future. But there'll always be a need for these applications on the cloud, and I think you guys are leading that charge with, this is the only one I know of. I don't think you have any competition when it comes down to something as robust as this. You see little apps that let you make beats and stuff like that on the cloud, but that's completely different. This is all about, like you said, music collaboration, songwriting, and basically, really bringing that tool that's been residing on that desktop to something that we can all share and work around with. Is there any plans to allow plugins for to work in BandLab?
If you're referring to plugins, you mean to be able to have effects and additional features like that?
Yeah, well, like a company like a
VST or
that type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, absolutely. I think, again, like I mentioned, the technology is moving very, very fast, and this is something that internally we do have effects built in and presets on the web. We try to keep everything as simple as possible for people to make sure that it's, we keep the tools really streamlined and focused on what you need just to get the ideas down and sketch out what you're looking for. But definitely, as we talk about the technology and the possibilities of being able to implement effects and plugins, one of the real exciting things, like you mentioned in terms of competition, we are the only truly multi-platform app and system that actually achieves collaboration and for musicians. So, there are some other people in the space. However, what's very exciting for us is the ability for us to use truly multi-platform that you can download it on Android, you download it on iPhone, and all the software for these platforms are developed native. So we truly harness the technology of the device as opposed to using some framework that could lower your processing power or the ability that you have. And it's an interesting point because we're really seeing the world transition to a different state. You mentioned you were at Microsoft and everything was moving towards the cloud. We're seeing everything becoming much more cloud-based, but also a huge focus now is mobile, and that's why we put a very big focus on Android and put a big focus on native on iPhones and iOS devices, because it's key, especially when you start looking outside of countries like the U.S. Mobile is key in Asia, especially in Africa and countries around the world. We have users in Brazil who are using the Android devices to connect to BandLab and to make music and collaborate with people around the world. And it's really interesting to see how this has really exploded. Some statistics that were being thrown out earlier this year was that the number of PC units sold are on the decline. And, it's 10% down year on year or something around that area. And it's very interesting because music has mostly been created on professional DAWs. You've had to use professional systems to truly have the highest computing power that's possible. But as technology gets better and devices get more powerful and more powerful, there's going to be a shift that's very exciting that we want to be part of.
Yeah, and I really see that that would be the case. I agree wholeheartedly on that. We've got about 2.5 minutes left, and it's never enough time, man. I knew that we could go on for days with this. Especially, I could pick your brain. I might have to offline here on some of the stuff, but with about 2.5 minutes left. How are you going to get the radio shows like this? But how would you get the message out about your product? What's your campaign to introduce this to the people?
Well, the campaign that we're running right now is that music starts here. It's really based around the fact that we want to be at that point of inspiration. We're really starting out. We are a startup that was founded recently. We really built the office out of Singapore. The whole team is based here, building and excitedly developing this product for musicians. It's really at the inception point of music that we also want to be as a tool for musicians. So when you have that idea on the go, whether you're in the car and driving or whether you're in the studio at home and you have your guitar right next to you, we want you to be able to capture that idea quickly and then be able to develop it with people and those around you at any point in time. And that's really, I would say the most important thing for us is built around the collaboration, and we hope that the tool is sophisticated enough and easy enough to use and accessible that the easiest way to get the word out is that someone enjoys using it and they invite a friend to use it because they want to work on music together,
Yeah, I definitely get it. I've had a couple of texts from some of my friends that are listening in, and they're like, man, you're asking all the right questions because this is all the stuff that they're wanting to hear about it. So you're already getting fans. I think people are already downloading it as it is. How many people right now? What's the community like right now? How big is the community?
We've got a community in the thousands right now, in the tens of thousands.
Oh wow!
And
that's huge because you guys just started off, so that's big. So, well, it's that time, man. I hate to come to an end, but we actually have Scott calling in right now, and we'll be we'll be interviewing him. We look forward to doing some stuff with you at the NAMM show, Meng. I appreciate your time, man. You can get back to bed, brother. I don't know if you have to get up early in the morning or earlier in the morning now that you're up at 3 a.m, but really appreciate it, brother. You've shed some light on some cool challenges in your products, and definitely answer that call to those challenges.
Thank you very much.
So hold on the line. I'm just gonna we'll close offline. But this has been the Changing Stage radio show powered by the mighty WS Radio Networks. We've got a double play today. We've got Scott Robertson from Robertson Communications coming up here very shortly. So stay tuned. Thanks to Pitbull and of course SIR-USA.com and Balanced Breakfast at BLNCDBRKFSAT.com. Stay tuned.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Progressive Medical.
Hey, this is Heidi Rue, and Progressive Medical Center has literally changed my life and my health, but I'm not the only one. Adele suffered from bone deterioration, bone overgrowth, profound muscle discomfort, physical exhaustion, and mental fog. In fact, the bone deterioration becomes so serious that she had to have back surgery. Well, after the surgery, she still didn't feel well, and so that's when she heard about Progressive Medical Center. Progressive Medical Center discovered that her adrenals weren't working properly, her hormones were out of whack, and the drugs she had been taking were doing more harm than good. Adele came into Progressive Medical Center in a walker, physically and mentally exhausted. But now she's a world traveler. She hikes and walks several miles a day, and it's all thanks to Progressive Medical Center. 770-676-6000. 770-676-6000.
Progressive Medical. This is your life. Live it well.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine, and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.